Massive. BlackRock is now going to actively push the Bitcoin price. They released a new Bitcoin commercial where a beginner's video clearly explains why Bitcoin will prevail. BlackRock really has the incentive to push the Bitcoin price up because the higher the Bitcoin price, the more money they make. And now it becomes clear what I said a year ago, that if the Bitcoin ETFs take off, the ETF providers will massively push the Bitcoin price in 2001 because they will be running endless promotional campaigns. And this ad is the latest example of that. We're going to check out this clip. I translated it into German using AI. Also, a new research paper has just been published stating that Bitcoin could rise to $1 million by 2027. It's really crazy what's happening right now. Additionally, we have a new Bitcoin reserve law that we also need to take a look at. BlackRock's impact on Bitcoin is huge. They use there. You always have to look at the whole thing critically because BlackRock is a powerful player. They have a massive amount of assets under management. But one thing is clear. You can philosophically criticize BlackRock, but for the Bitcoin price, this is probably one of the craziest things that could ever happen to Bitcoin. BlackRock is taking their own budget, which they could use for something else, like buying bananas or whatever, but instead they're using their own money, which they might have earned through Bitcoin ETFs and so on, to push the Bitcoin price further by promoting Bitcoin and running Bitcoin marketing campaigns. That's exactly the thing. Bitcoin doesn't have a marketing team, but the marketing team is decentralized. BlackRock is pushing Bitcoin forward, and I'm doing it with my YouTube channel, along with other folks like Van Eck, ARK Invest, and all those investment asset managers and so on. You could also say that Donald Trump is an employee of the Bitcoin marketing team, along with a bunch of other folks from Harvard and many more. So Bitcoin really has a decentralized team because everyone who's invested has the incentive to push Bitcoin forward, to push the Bitcoin price up, and to promote adoption so that we have more people in the Bitcoin network and it becomes easier to use Bitcoin. And some do it through marketing, trying to push the Bitcoin price up. Some do it through education. There are different ways, but let's take a look. Here's the AI-translated ad clip from BlackRock, and here's the explanation of why Bitcoin is going to succeed.
We've all heard of Bitcoin, but what exactly is Bitcoin? Let's start at the beginning, about 100,000 years ago. Throughout history, we used all sorts of objects to carry out transactions and store value, from shells to shiny metals to paper notes. In 2021, that's because the value isn't just in the object itself, but in how much we agree that the object represents something. The object can be many things, even, as it turns out, a string of digital code. The internet has changed everything. It has connected the world and changed how we communicate, work, shop, and manage our finances. It has also opened the door to a new kind of currency and asset. Here comes Bitcoin, a digital currency that's not controlled by banks or governments, but by its global community of users, and that offers new potential benefits. Bitcoin transactions happen from person to person, all around the world in almost real time and with nearly zero transaction fees. Open up money and time, and financial opportunities for those who don't have access to a bank. Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million Bitcoins. This set rule controls the supply, the purchasing power, and helps prevent potential abuse. In 2021, printing more and more money can contribute to inflation. All transactions take place on a digital ledger called the blockchain. It's a digital platform for moving value, where everyone can see every transaction. Bitcoin is no longer seen as the radical idea it was 15 years ago. Over 500 million people worldwide are now using cryptocurrencies, with more than 50% holding or investing in Bitcoin, making it the most popular cryptocurrency out there. Some people use Bitcoin to transfer value across borders and for purchases. Some see Bitcoin as an investment because of its limited supply and its uniqueness compared to other financial assets. And for those in certain countries, it has a much deeper value, as it potentially offers greater financial autonomy by serving as an alternative to local currencies.
Bitcoin is an emerging global monetary alternative. Time will tell how far acceptance will go. But the next time you see a shell or a shiny metal, think about how people's ideas of money have evolved throughout history.
So they really tackled the whole topic in a very neutral way. This is definitely a clip that you can share a couple thousand times, even for kids or newcomers. If you have friends, relatives, or anyone you want to introduce to Bitcoin, then take this video and share it with them. Here, it's simply explained what money has to do with this, and why Bitcoin is a superior store of value. It doesn't claim Bitcoin is the best money. It just outlines Bitcoin's characteristics, making it friendly without creating hype. Remember, promotional clips like this cost money, and BlackRock aims to sell their Bitcoin ETF products. There's also a mention of iShares, but of course, you have to keep in mind that when a promotional clip like this is created, it costs money, and BlackRock definitely has the underlying goal of selling their Bitcoin ETF products. In the end, there's also a mention of iShares here. Check it out. You can still purchase our Bitcoin ETF product here. So, it's definitely presented in a relatively neutral way on the surface, but secretly there's just this motivation to pump the Bitcoin price way up. But feel free to write in the comments what you think about this Bitcoin clip. I think it's really well done, especially when you say that Bitcoin is truly an emerging monetary alternative, and it's made very clear that Bitcoin is money. And now we have something really crazy here. A new research paper shows that Bitcoin is on track to exceed $1 million per Bitcoin by January 2027. $1 million per. To exceed Bitcoin. We have this research paper from the Satoshi Action Fund. A paper doesn't mean Bitcoin hits a million. Science confirms known outcomes, and central banks predict Bitcoin's decline. This paper suggests a market price range. I often criticize science for simply publishing random papers just to confirm your theories, which you already knew how they would turn out, or your studies, which you already knew how they would turn out. So, a paper like that is pretty much worthless, just like when central banks put out papers saying, hey, Bitcoin is going to fade into irrelevance. You can twist that stuff however you want, but it's still interesting to see what's being said here, what this paper claims. Because it says our findings suggest that the market price, under realistic conditions, could exceed $1 million per Bitcoin between January. Could exceed $1 million per Bitcoin by 2027 and early fall 2028. In both scenarios, conservative and bullish. Higher prices might be reached sooner if institutional adoption speeds up and the liquid supply of Bitcoin runs out quickly, which suggests a potential hyperbolic price acceleration. This dynamic suggests that Bitcoin is an attractive asset for long-term investments. Price predictions based on supply and demand models could provide investors and fund managers with valuable information necessary for forward-looking, tailored portfolio allocation and investment decisions for 2021. Well, you also have to say that Dennis Porter is the one who is preparing the whole Bitcoin reserve action and so on. And here he simply says, okay, if you're going to bet on Bitcoin, then you have to have some kind of pricing model or something like that in mind. Models are valid, be cautious, don't bet everything on one. Scenarios show Bitcoin could hit $1 million by 2027 or 2028. New interest drives price. You've seen it with other models that they can sometimes break down, so you shouldn't bet all your money on one model. But it's still interesting to see that we have more and more bullish scenarios, and even in the bear case or base case, they're saying that Bitcoin will still hit $1 million by 2027 or 2028. Simply because we have this supply-demand dynamic and the halving in Bitcoin mining. On the other hand, there's new institutional interest, new buyers, new groups of buyers coming into Bitcoin, and that's how we get to $1 million Bitcoin price. Samsung Mal, who is also always hyper-bullish, adds, if you don't think Bitcoin usage is going to 1 million next year, you're just not paying attention. So, anyone who thinks Bitcoin can't shoot up to 1 million next year is just not paying attention right now. And the reason they say this is that it's becoming more and more likely that a Bitcoin reserve strategy will get approved in the U.S. And now we have a new state in the U.S. that's introducing a new Bitcoin reserve bill. In addition to Pennsylvania and Texas, there's now also a bill for a Bitcoin reserve in Ohio. The politician behind the bill, Derek Marin, explains that Bitcoin can protect against currency devaluation and strengthen state finances. It's just absolutely wild what's going on right now. I've got some exciting insights for you from El Salvador, but first, I have an announcement. Right now, there's a giveaway from CoinTracking. Here, you can easily track your taxes, keep an eye on your Bitcoin portfolio balances, use it as a portfolio tracker, and you can also generate tax reports. It's just super easy. Here you can see which coins are tax-free and which ones aren't. I use the tool myself because it helps you prove your tax situation to the tax office. And coin tracking is currently giving away a premium account for free. So you can now participate in this giveaway. Just write giveaway in the comments below. But you also need to join our Telegram group and write the word giveaway in there so we can contact you if you win. There's a giveaway for a premium account. You can also use the code BTC Hotel, and there's a link from coin tracking below where you can get discounts on a pro account. It's free to sign up for coin tracking at first. And only after you make several trades does it start to cost money. So, I absolutely recommend this ultimate tax tool. If you want to buy Bitcoin, I'll link you below to Bitcoin, the easiest way to buy Bitcoin in Europe. Here, you can still get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin with the code Bitcoin Hotel. And now I'm going to show you a clip from an interview where I was a guest at Coin Tracking, talking about El Salvador, why I left Germany, and why I currently see more opportunities in El Salvador than in Germany. It's a really short clip, just 2 or 3 minutes, so feel free to check it out.
Tell me about the step you took, why you decided to make this move, how you're handling the decision so far, how you feel about it, and what the pros and cons might be, especially for those who are interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, who are moving out of Germany, in this case to El Salvador, especially for those who are interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, what it's like in El Salvador, and how it is, for example, what the reasons were for you really leaving Germany.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer. For example, get out of Germany or stay in Germany. But I know that more and more people are at least asking themselves whether they need a plan B, whether they should leave Germany or even leave the EU, because more and more folks are unhappy in Germany and the EU. The political decisions that are sometimes made, the regulations, and so on. Let's just say, Bitcoin friendly isn't exactly what's happening in the EU right now. It's not that bad, but I can see the tendency that something is coming our way and that the EU is more of a sinking ship. And I just think it's way cooler to be part of a project that's on the rise, like a rocket going up, just like Bitcoin. That's why a lot of people really like Bitcoin, and maybe that's why many folks don't want to support fiat money. If you're participating in fiat, then you're basically part of a sinking ship. And who wants to be part of a sinking ship? And for me, the EU is also a sinking ship. I'm not saying that you have to leave the EU right away, because I get it. A lot of people have their family, their business, and so on here. And there are also a lot of things that keep you here. You grew up here. I mean, it wasn't easy for me to just leave in 2021. But there are also some extra factors, like the fact that I just love the sun. I just like it when it's warm. Honestly, I really don't feel like going out to shovel snow right now. It's cold in Germany right now, the 3, 4, 5 months in winter. It's pretty crazy for me. I strongly believe that we are actually tropical beings. This is the only place in the world where we can virtually exist in our natural form. In Germany, we always have to pile on clothes and stuff like that. Like I said, everyone has to decide for themselves what the right choice is for them. I just see that the situation is really getting tense right now. And often it's like a thumb screw when things are just somewhat okay. With fiat money at 3% or more, consider plan B. Then you say, okay, screw it, let's just neglect it. If it's 3, 4, 5, or 10%, then you're more likely to think about plan B. So if they really start talking about exit taxes, 1,000 people stay, discussing taxes on unrealized gains, etc., then people consider moving to Bitcoin-friendly regions with libertarian views. If the weather, vibe, and fruits are better, it's a great decision for me. I haven't regretted it at all so far. And if the weather is better on top of that, and maybe the vibe and temperament of the people are better, and the fruits, coconuts, and melons are better, then it's really a very, very good decision, at least for me. Honestly, I haven't regretted it at all so far. You can also look at it positively. You can say, for example, okay, the politics in Germany are really bad and blah blah blah. But you can also look at it the other way and say that because there are certain problems here, I've been able to broaden my horizons and open myself up to new lifestyles and ways of living. I think Bitcoin gives you exactly that flexibility here. We have an asset that we can take with us everywhere 24/7. We can walk over the border. I find it crazy when you go abroad and they ask, do you have $2,000 or euros in cash? I think, what question is that? I can carry millions and billions in my head. Then I think to myself, hey, what is the question? I can carry millions and billions just in my head and so on. I have flexibility and monetary power. I can vote with my feet, meaning I don't need to go to the polls every 4 years. If things don't suit me, I can take my Bitcoin seeds and move to where I'm treated best. I have complete monetary flexibility, and I can really use that flexibility now. I can actually vote with my feet. So, I really can't just go to the polls every 4 years anymore. If things don't suit me, I can just take my Bitcoin seeds or whatever with me, or I have it stored in my head or allocated in some geographically secure places. I can now go to the destination where I'm treated the best and where I see the best living conditions for myself.